All right, welcome back to Toon Terror. I'm David,
I'm Gary.
and today we contemplate the Five of Wands.
Yes, the Five of Wands, one of our very favorite cards, especially when we start talking about certain political parties and certain activities of certain political parties.
So there's some concern that after the elections are done, that the Trump supporters are not going to take kindly to the election results because clearly it's going to be a stolen election. They've been told that for the last 8 or 9 years, that the Democrats only win elections by stealing them.
Yes.
And at least presidential elections anyway. So when Trump gets absolutely manhandled in this election, both in a popular vote and likely an electoral vote, how will MAGA handle it? Now, there are some differences between now and 2020, when we did not have a peaceful transfer of power.
Technically 2021, but yes.
Yes, in January 6th of 2021. First off, Donald Trump is not the president. Joe Biden is. So if you're worried about having a National Guard presence available in DC ready to go, I don't think you have to worry about that a whole hell of a lot.
No.
Two, Liz Cheney just had an article I saw on The Hill. I did not read it. I just saw the title. Was she's not convinced Mike Johnson would peacefully transfer power between Biden and Harris, that he'd hold out the certification of the electoral counts or something along those lines. But the thing is, Mike Johnson may not be the House Speaker when it comes time to count those ballots, because the new Congress is sworn in literally like a day or two before they count the electoral votes. So it could very well be that Hakeem Jeffries is the House Majority Leader who would be counting the votes. So you may not have to worry about such things. And again, Trump is not president. And then, Trump had tens of thousands of people go to the ellipse, and 1,000 of his most fervent supporters stormed the Capitol and were arrested and criminally charged.
Yep.
Now, obviously, more than 1,000 stormed the Capitol, but of those that stormed the Capitol, 1,000 of the most extreme supporters, loyalists through and through, got convicted and serving prison time, some still serving prison time.
Yeah.
Once bitten, twice shy. Do you really want to do it a second time for this guy when he doesn't control the levers of power? So, things to consider. That's what's different with this election.
Right. Doesn't mean that they're not gonna, but they're gonna. It may have a slightly different approach.
Yeah.
The approach may be a little bit different than it was last time. It's not going to look exactly the same.
No. And there's a lot of things playing in the Democrats' favor that they did not have control of. You can't just blame Nancy Pelosi as much as you want to, right? So let's just take a look at the energy of MAGA post-election, with the assumption that Trump and the Republicans have lost the presidency, the House, and likely the Senate, but mostly the presidency.
Based on our last reading, we would say, they're going to lose it in a big way.
Yeah. So for entertainment purposes only, we get the Knight of Wands. It's that sort of a slow progression of, it's almost like, Democrats won, now we've got to do our part. But there's not as much, while there's fire there, the enthusiasm isn't there. That probably the last time we would have seen a Knight of Swords, not the Knight of Wands. They're going to be a bit more cautious this time. Crossed with the Four Swords. It kind of like think about it this time. A lot of people got busted because they went and fight, and then they posted it all up on their social media, which was used against them. If you're not posting up your violent rhetoric on social media, you're not going to have a bunch of people encouraging you. It's they say this, the famous last words of a redneck. Hey, y'all, watch this. And it's going to be that same sort of thing where, they're not posting on social media. They're not going to tell people what they're going to do. Like if I'm going to go and riot, they're not going to do that. So what ends up happening is you don't have that momentum of people encouraging them to come out and, fight like your country depends on it type of thing. It's just not going to be there. In the past, you got the judgment because they answered the call once before. It didn't make a difference in the election. Lots of them lost their jobs, and a few of them served prison time and are felons and probably can't own those guns that they love so dearly. So now they have to balance it. There's a reality. There's a price to pay. And again, this is not Trump's influence is weakened. Trump is not the president of the United States. He doesn't control the power of the government behind that. People, honestly, they learned their lesson. They're going to be upset. They're going to feel like the Democrats stole it, but their response is different. The momentum is different with it. It doesn't mean that they don't feel any less passionate about it, but also Trump said he was going to bail out all those January 6th protesters. The seditionists that rioted and tried to cause a coup on January 6th. Trump said he would pardon them, and he didn't. So why should they trust him? He lied to him once. Why should they lie to him? Why should they trust him a second time? The lesson to be learned again. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people who think about going to Washington, who think about doing stuff, but there's a difference between thinking and doing. That's not a strong card. I think a lot of people are going to walk away. They're just going to be like, you know what? No, not going to do it. It's not worth it. They've thought about it. There's a term that Michelle uses, playing the tape all the way through, where you, it's not just enough to say, I'm going to go to the Capitol and I'm going to riot. Okay, great. Then what? What do you mean, then what? Then what? Well, then I'm going to go home. And then what? Nothing. But I got a problem here. You probably posted on social media, didn't you? So that's evidence. And do you think you can storm the Capitol and do all and rub feces on the walls and disrupt things and there's no consequences? And you posted this up on social media for everybody to see? And you don't think there's going to be a consequence for that? And what do you think is going to happen to your job? What do you think is going to happen? Even if you don't get incarcerated, it's kind of like going to the white supremacist rally, and getting photographed with a tiki torch. What's the consequences of that? It didn't just it doesn't just end there and it's game over. And now when you go to work on Monday, like they can't take any action against you. Play it all the way through. What's your work and your coworkers going to say? What's your family going to say? What are your neighbors going to say? Your social circle, what are they going to say?
It doesn't matter. My social media will love me.
Exactly. And that's the danger of living in an echo chamber.
Is that the danger of living in an echo chamber?
I believe that is the danger of living in an echo chamber. Echo chamber.
Okay, good. Now batting. Okay, so what I want to throw on is, because in my mind, it's not going to be Trump speaking at the ellipse and then leading the charge towards the Senate. So I suspect what we may see is more grassroots, localized mischief. It won't be this big organized coup, but we may see some localized stuff. So that's what I want to throw cards on.
People acting out. Maybe they go to their Democratic mayor's house, or more likely they're going to go to like the person who's charge of elections in counting. The what's the position, Gary? The elector chair or the county. The county clerk or whatever. They're going to give that person a hassle. They're going to hassle that person.
Yeah, instead of rubbing feces on the walls in the White House, maybe they'll let their dog crap on his lawn or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there going to be localized MAGA attacks on election officials? And I'll say this, beyond just little minor misdemeanor, like nothing like ringing the doorbell and running. I mean, more severe than that. Something that could get them time in the pokey for entertainment.
Yeah, threatening emails and sending them envelopes with white powder in it or something.
Yeah. So the foundation is the high priestess. You got that divine knowledge, the wisdom that you should have, that these elections are fair, they're free and they're fair. But there's a bit of mystery. It's like the QAnon. They try and pass themselves off as very knowledgeable and wise and intellectual, but it's really just a bunch of smoke screens. They're just simply not playing it straight up with you. The challenge is the cross is the Page of Pentacles, coming up with kind of a creative approach to this. So they're probably looking at the White House, like I was saying. You got the J and the B, the Joe Biden, right? So they're looking at the White House and saying, okay, well, last time that didn't work. Intellectually speaking, I'm not going there again. So maybe is this going to be something more localized? Well, let's see. This is kind of a different approach. Certainly, we can look at the local aspect of this. Underneath it is the Nine of Cups. Hopes, wishes, dreams fulfilled. They did not get their hopes, wishes, and dreams fulfilled. They wanted Trump to win, and he lost. And so how are they going to handle this? How are they going to handle this setback? Are they going to be some localized stuff? As Dave pulled this card earlier, the Judgment card, people were called to act. In the 2020 election, Trump called them to action. They rose to the call. They attacked the institution, and a lot of them are in prison now. Some of them, are like Dave said, are still in prison. And so they may not, they've seen what happens when you answer the call for this, to have an insurrection. The current energy is the world. Their world is coming to an end. Their world is changing. They don't want it to change. They want the world the way it was 50, 60, 70, 80, 120 years ago. But no, I'm sorry. The world is changing. They're not going back. This is the end for you folks. Okay. Overarching energy is the Fool. They're on a new journey. You've got the end and you got the beginning. We're on a new journey. The old way is we're done, and we're going to be on a new journey here. I'm not seeing anything that's showing a lot of mischief going on. Once again, it's like, what? I'm just going to take my ball and go home. You know what? We lost this election, and we're just going to pack up our little MAGA flags and our little red hats, and we're going to go someplace out of these stormy waters. We're just done. Final outcome, Queen of Swords. What happened was the last time people rose to the call, they've met the Queen of Swords. They like Dave said, they filmed their misactions and their misdeeds, and the court system came through and said, yeah, you know what? This is what you did. We're going to hold you accountable. You're going to prison. Yeah. So even locally, I'm not seeing anything organized at a local level.
Yeah, and I think that's the key word there, organized. When you threw the High Priestess, what a fool believes is kind of the mantra that kept coming through there, and it's crossed by the Page of Pentacles. Yeah, there might be small scale, individual, lone wolf. I got a great idea. I'm going to do this.
Yeah,
but literally, the legal system is they're up against the legal system at this point. And the legal system is going to be brutal on them. If anybody who does this, it's one thing when you've got 1,000 people you have to work through because there's a lot of resources that have to go into prosecuting 1,000 people. But if you're one guy in a county somewhere in Texas, oh, they've got plenty of time to prosecute your butt.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way it's going to be. No, I don't see it being widespread. I do see the occasional person doing something stupid, but kind of like Tina Peters, they're going to be held accountable for it because there's just they've got all the resources they can throw at that one person.
Yeah,
and the Queen of Swords,
she got 9 years. 9 years, and I think someone. I'm going to preface this because I can't remember the source of this.
Tina Peters is the elections clerk in Colorado that let people in to go take a look at the voting machines, and then was just obstinate about her she was doing was right and just and this, that, and the other thing, and she just got sentenced to 9 years and 6 months for these actions.
Yes, I read somewhere where it's just like she took a 3-year sentence and made it a 9.5-year sentence because of how she approached, her lack of contrition and her whining. I have a family, just this tone deaf defense of why she shouldn't be going to prison.
To the point where the judge even called her entitled and just privileged.
I have no doubt that if you were in the same position, you would do the same thing again. I think was kind of paraphrasing. And it's just like, there's no remorse. This is, you did this and you would do it again in a minute. And I'm going to make sure you feel the effects of that.
And for those keeping score, and it'll probably be our next reading because why not? Judge Merchan, when he sentences Donald Trump for the 34 felony convictions, part of the sentencing guideline is how did the defendant conduct themselves before, during, and after the trial? Have they shown contrition? Have they shown taking responsibility for their actions and stuff like that? And the answer is no, no, and no.
Yeah,
he's doubled and tripled down on his bad behavior, and he's attacked people, and there's a reason why the gag order has to stay in place.
Yep,
because he's a giant man baby, and that's he's basically taking something that at worst was going to be a fine and probation, and he's going to turn it into a prison sentence.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Weisselman went to Rikers. Weisselberg, God, I keep saying that. Weisselberg went to Rikers for 6 months because he lied. He lied. He gave false testimony. He lied under oath. He perjured himself. And they gave him 6 months for that. Yeah, and I think that's why Merchan, and we could talk about this in the next video, but I think that's why Merchan kind of deferred till after the election, because when Trump loses, he no longer has political cover.
Yeah. Throw the full book at him. Yeah, nobody's going out of their way to save Trump unless they feel like they can make money off of him for doing it.
Yeah, I mean that's why you have Elon Musk on the platform now. There's what's in it. You got to think. Well, Elon Musk isn't really a political figure. He's a business person and a quote unquote visionary. But at the end of the day, he likes money and he likes influence. So what is Trump offering him to get Elon Musk to hop up on a stage and jump around like a 10-year-old kid hopped up on Red Bull and milk chocolate bars, right?
Probably Elon is looking at, Trump's going to be a has-been, so these MAGA folks have to turn to somebody.
Oh, Lord help us.
That's where I see him going with it.
Oh, God. At least we can
There's
believe
no heir apparent. There is no heir apparent to Trump. Elon Musk is being an opportunist. He's been an opportunist his entire life, and he's going to be an opportunist in this case. And he's going to try and build this as a following because he already has his fanboys from Tesla that are, fanatical to him. You can roll MAGA into there too.
That's a scary thought. Well, at least the one thing you can say about Musk is he's a legitimate billionaire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
it's not like he took his little property in Texas and said it's worth 100 billion trillion gazillion dollars when it was really like a mobile home, a double-wide mobile home on a lot.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll leave it there. All right. Thank you everybody for watching this video and supporting our channel. I appreciate it.
If you really like this, give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you really, really like it, and leave a comment. I read them all and I respond to many of them.
Okay. And again, these are for entertainment purposes only, so don't sue us.
Yeah, here we are insulting billionaires.
Please don't sue us.
Yeah,
you'll spend way more on lawyers than you'll get from us.
I mean, look, the only thing I can afford is a battery-operated cat clock. How much money do you think I've got?
Anyways, thanks again, everyone. We'll catch you on the next video. Take care.
Bye.